what's happening, guys? 0 Hour back with you, Tim Lloyd, Jeff Hobbs, and we are ready to break down, do our preview show for this Friday's Aries Fight Series 17. It's going down at the world famous Cotton Eye Joe. And Jeff, it's been it feels like it hasn't been that long since we've rendezvoused. It's a quick turnaround as far as we go. It has been a little moment since we've been at the Joe though, so it'd be fun to get back over to the Joe and have a bit of more laid back show, comparatively speaking to what we just did at Aries 16.
Yeah, it's always some of my favorite shows are the ones that come on the heels of a big show because you do get to kind of pump your brakes a little bit, tone it down, really enjoy the night because there's just not so much hustle and bustle going on. So it's always fun going back to the Joe when you haven't been there in a while, and then you add coming off the heels of a really big just event for us, the Chattanooga show in April. So I am excited to go back and have a drink and relax.
No doubt, of course. You can get your tickets at fightertickswiththenext.com. Pay-per-view, as always, at Expectation Sports. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of this thing, do us a favor, like and hit the thumbs up button so you like the video, first of all, and then subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you'll get notified when we post new content here. We got interviews going up all around. Our guy Kyle Mays put some content up here, I'm sure, this week. And then, of course, we've got the videos from the aforementioned Aries 16. Those will be going up here in about another 2 weeks or so. So definitely want to subscribe so you get notifications. Follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. And finally, last but not least, shout out to our presenting sponsor, Smoky Mountain CBD. Check them out at SmokyMountainCBD.com. One of our fine sponsors for all the shows. They have got the good stuff when it comes to your CBD, Delta 9, Delta 8, THC needs, all legal and real dank too. So we love it, and we'll see them there, of course, in the house this Friday night. And Jeff, let's jump into it. We've got a 12-bout card. As we mentioned, this is an amateur show. This is a little bit more laid back atmosphere, a lot more entry-level fighters, but oftentimes these are the type of fights that will give you a surprisingly entertaining evening. You look at across the board at the experience of most of these fighters, and there's not a whole lot of people that have more than 2 or 3 fights, if that. So a lot of the times these are the people that go out there with kind of that frantic energy and put on a show that will enthrall the crowd at the Joe. And so that's what we like about these shows. A lot more laid back, and you get guys that just let it all hang out, man. A lot of times they don't know any better to conserve energy. They're going out there and giving it all in the first round. 3 preliminary bouts. We'll kind of lump those together here. We've got juniors Muay Thai bout at 130 pounds. Aiden Brown making his debut out of a new gym in Fayetteville, Georgia. There's not a new gym. I will say a new gym to us. Odo Kwan Martial Arts out of Fayetteville, Georgia. And he'll be taking on Trayton Byerly, also debuting out of London Martial Arts up in London, Kentucky. The kids always, they bring it to start the show. So excited for that. And then 2 grappling bouts follow that up. And man, we got some familiar faces in these. Logan Metters takes on Brandon Dougherty. Logan out of Lawrenceburg Combat Club, Brandon out of Chaos. We saw both these guys compete in the last 2 shows, essentially. Logan on 16 and Brandon at 15, and quick turnaround here, staying active in the cage. And then our final prelim bout, I'm excited for this one the most. I think it's going to be Jeff Jankowski, also at a Lawrenceburg Combat Club, coming off a big win at Aries 16, taking on our buddy Josh Maynor, Pettigo submission, fighting out of Nashville. And Jeff, it's grappling and kickboxing. Let's start off with a little something different and with some familiar faces all the same.
Yeah, and honestly, this has kind of been a staple at a lot of our shows that we kind of start all our shows off like this. But the last few we've actually had very few of these, so it's kind of cool to get back in the swing of opening up a show with a couple of different disciplines. How old are the juniors?
I believe they're 15 and 16.
Okay,
so
all right,
they're young.
Yeah, but still mid-teens though, not smaller kids. So those like you said, the kids always bring it. You're a fool if you don't start a show with a juniors bout, because it will get the crowd going.
Oh yeah,
and the kids have just a hell of a following too. So that's going to be cool to see that. But I'm like you. All these are names that we've recognized. Brandon, we saw, what was that, 15? I think you said.
Yeah, he fought
Yeah,
Anson, who we'll see a little bit later on the card.
right, right. And that was an MMA fight. So I'm
Mhm.
excited to see him. That one didn't go his way, but he had great crowd support, and he's still going to for this one based on his ticket sales. So they're still going to come out and support Brandon. But I'm definitely interested in seeing him in this just pure grappling match because we know he comes from Josh Cate's gym, so that's it's a big focus at there at Chaos. So I'll be interested in see what his jujitsu chops look like, but Jan Cow, that same cloth is like Rowan, where they're just tough dudes who come to fight. And whether it's MMA, you say, "Hey, I don't have MMA, I'll do grappling." Sure, I'll do that too. Just whatever. They're kind of from that same mindset. So it's going to be cool having them back. Jankowski was a part of arguably one of the biggest fights at Aries 16 in Chattanooga. So to see him immediately come back and just try to stay active is going to be cool. And Josh Maynard, man, there's going to be a big size difference as far as height, I should say.
Mhm.
Jankowski is a little on the shorter side, and Maynard is going to be a little taller. But uh, we haven't seen Maynard since, what was it, the fair show? Was it?
Yeah, yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, yeah, it's been a while since we've seen him, but I know he's itching to get back in. So that one's going to be that one. I'm with you. Is going to be the most interesting of those three opening bouts.
Up next, we get going with the MMA portion of the show, the undercard, if you will. We got 4 bouts here. We'll do the best we can on these guys because more often than not, these are first timers. We've got a 140-pound catch weight bout to open things up. Austin Lewis, 0-2, independently fighting out of Mountain City, Tennessee. It's been a while since I've seen Austin. It's been, several years, 4 or 5 years. He was fighting fairly steady with his butter Hunter Lewis, and so it'd be interesting to see if he's been training, working to improve, and maybe get his first win. He's 0-2. He'll be taking on Team Arden's Cameron Maddox, making his debut out of Maryville, Tennessee. Young buck. I think he's 18 and eager to have his first fight. I don't know what we'll get out of this one. It may not be the most technically proficient fight, but I think it'll be a scramble all the same. We've got bantamweights after that, and this one is low key. This is kind of a sleeper fight, I think. Bantamweight fight at 135 pounds. The debuting Jacob Seymour out of Mark Cook's Impact. Powder Springs, Georgia, taking on Noah Basinger, looking for his first win, 0-1 out of Rowan Wrestling in China Grove, North Carolina. Last time out, ran into a really tough fighter out of Scorpion that he had to kind of over real quick. But I know that he's got a good wrestling background and had done some tag team in the past. So he's been in there. Cook's Impact, of course, has been a long time since we've seen Mark Cook in the gang. Of course, back in the golden years, if you will, of Tennessee MMA, those guys would come up. They had Josh Downing, they had D'Angelo Bynum. There was some really solid fighters in that time. So I'm really stoked to see this new crop of young bucks he's got. We got middleweights, 185 pounds. Both guys looking for their first win. Noah Park out of Athens, Georgia, taking on James Arden, 0-3 out of Maryville. Both these guys were scheduled to fight each other at the last show. Park had an accident on the way up, so I'm excited to get this one underway here. Both James Arden and Noah Park excited to try to get that first win. And then rounding out this fight, heavyweights. And we've got 1-0 Sherman Washington looking to move to 2-0 out of Huntsville with Harry Powell's MMA. It's not Jeff Powell's MMA. It's a gentleman named Harry Powell, who's I believe they're mainly a striking based gym. We saw Sherman win his debut against Preston. I want to say it's Preston Leonard down in Chattanooga. He'll be taking on the debuting Garrett Bishop out of Operation Iron Fit in Knoxville, Tennessee. First timer, comes to us by way of the Army National Guard. You might be able to tell us a little bit more about him, but what's your take on these undercard bouts?
Like you said, I mean, the whole purpose of this, when we do these showcase series, all amateur shows, it's because you've got new guys that are just fresh into this debuts, and you've got these guys on here that are looking for their first win. They've been able to get some tough competition, and that's kind of what we got in this section. It debuts, but you have your 0-1s, your 0-2s, 0-3s, everybody vying for that first win. and that's what the amateur showcase series is all about, is debuts and guys trying to get on the right side of that record. So it's going to be exciting seeing all these guys going for that first win, whether it is a debut or maybe their third fight. They're all going for that first win, except for Sherman Washington. He has felt victory once before.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in the James Harden Noah Park, just because of the circumstances surrounding that fight. It was supposed to happen at a previous show. It did not. Noah Park was legitimately in an accident leading up to coming to the show. And usually you hear stuff like that and you think, yeah, whatever. But it was legit. And the fact that he immediately wanted to make it right and come back and not just only fight again, but do the same exact fight, uh, tells me a lot about Noah Park. And James Harden just has been out of it for a while. He started visiting some of the shows here recently and hanging out, and let it be known he wanted to get back with him and the Maryville crowd, bring to the Cotton Eye Joe. But I think the show piece on this one is definitely Sherman Washington. The fact that he is 1-0, won his debut in Chattanooga, looked good doing it, and big Garrett Bishop. This is a guy who, through our sponsorship with the Tennessee Army National Guard, that crew comes in every show, brings recruits in, brings guys serving in as guests. And Garrett Bishop was one of those guys that just came in with the Army National Guard to watch a show, with us a few shows back at the Joe, and came up and introduced himself and said, "I want in. When you come back, I want in." And we hear that a lot. A lot of people say that, but by God, next thing I knew, my phone was ringing by somebody from the Tennessee National Guard saying, "No, we want in. He wants in." So I'm definitely tough guy, big guy. I can't remember Sherman Washington's height, but I know Garrett Bishop. I remember meeting him because he's a pretty big guy. And, these Army guys are always tough. But this is a gentleman. I said, "Hey, what walkout music do you want?" "I don't want any walkout music, Jeff. That's not what I'm about. I'm coming in there to fight. I don't need anything to hype me up." So he's definitely got the right mindset for this. This is going to be interesting. And hopefully that the Army National Guard guys that are there in attendance, they always have a good time and they're loud and they enjoy it. I have a feeling they're going to be real excited on this one.
No doubt, no doubt, and also Cameron Maddox, he actually jumped in and worked and helped us on the cage and whatnot the last show. So very eager
That's
young
that
man.
kid.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see how he does out there.
Yeah, hey, that kid's a good worker.
Yeah, no doubt. Hopefully he stays uninjured and he can maybe help us tear that bad boy down afterward.
Yeah.
Come
on, Cameron, make a little money.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the main card. We start off with flyweights, always looking to kind of, deep in that flyweight division. So I'm excited for this one. Camden Cook makes me wonder if he's perhaps related to Mark Cook there at Cook's Impact. I'm not sure that he is, but he's making his debut as well, taking on Justin Williams, guy who we haven't seen in a moment. He's out of Maryville, BJJ, Maryville, Tennessee. Justin, another guy that, he comes and helps at the shows from time to time, helps with the glove table and things like that. So, I'm excited to see him get in the cage. He is a tall 125. I know that much. He's one of the taller 125s you're going to see, probably a good 5'10", 5'11", and 1-1. So I'm excited to see how he's improved. And then the next one, we'll kind of group these two together. We've got 165-pound catch weight, the debuting Cameron Moffitt out of Adam Sylvie's Wolves Den Martial Arts in Madisonville takes on Anson Phillips. Captain Anson, to you, 2-0 now out of Rowan Wrestling, China Grove, North Carolina. If you notice here, he has been fighting at 170. This will be at 165 in his trek down to 155. And Cameron Moffitt, I don't know a lot about him. Adam Sylvie speaks very highly of him. I did meet him at the last show, and he is a tall drink of water. He's every bit of 6'2", 6'3", probably. Very tall and long. So I'd be interested to see how Anson manages to deal with what's likely the tallest, longest guy he's fought thus far, or if the wrestling is just made all that much easier by the frame of Cameron Moffitt. So your take on these two?
This Cook's Impact and those guys are definitely new to me. I don't even have that history that you do of knowing of them before. So that's I'm definitely interested in Justin Williams. I mean, hell, we got to do a show where referee Luke Wilson fights, Cage Crew Cameron fights, and Glove Table Justin fights.
Yeah.
We got to have a show, uh, just guys that work for it. Cameraman Caleb will jump in. I mean,
Hmm.
like we just have a whole show of guys that work for us. So that one's interesting. But out of these four gentlemen, Anson Phillips obviously being 2-0 right now, and kind of they call him the captain for a reason. He is the captain of that Rowan team, and at for a while he was the one with the most success. But here recently, especially
Yeah.
off the heels of Chad Nuga, everybody at Rowan is kind of on a roll right now and catching their groove. So I think Anson is going to kind of bring that energy from the team off the heels of Chattanooga in April and those big wins that they had there. And it's only going to magnify, I think, the support from the Rowan crew for Anson because they're all feeling good coming off the last show. And so him going to 3-0 and dropping to 55 could definitely get interesting in the future for some, for some matchups, especially not looking ahead, but depending on the outcome of that main event, which will see a teammate
Yeah.
of Anson's from Rowan Wrestling. If things were to happen in a way that you had a 3-0 Dustin Berry at 155 and a 3-0 Anson and Phillips at 155, that could get interesting, but it's got to play out that way, and we don't know that because Austin Sauls is going to do everything he can later on. We'll talk about that to make sure that doesn't happen. But my point is a 3-0 Anson Phillips at 155 could get interesting. So that matchup, in particular of those two, stands out to me.
All right, up next, we have our feature bout of the evening, and this one is kind of a mystery here. We don't know what we're going to get out of the debuting Anthony Collins. This one's at 170, by the way, welterweight. Anthony Collins makes his debut out of Rowan Wrestling in China Grove, North Carolina. Purple belt. I do know that much. They told me it's purple belt. So this will be his first actual fight as he takes on Cole Tucker, 2-1 out of Lawrenceburg Combat Club, and Cole's kind of like the OG. Cole's like the original Lawrenceburg guy to kind of come out and take some fights. And he came out and he won his let's see, he won with a big knockout actually. Now that I think about it, he had a big knockout. I want to say over KMA guy maybe in his debut, and then he ended up falling to a very tough guy out of Chaos after that, and that was a fight that I believe he got subbed, but he knocked him down early. So Cole's kind of like he gets in there and he wants to have a banger, a slobber knocker. He's got power in his hands. He has shown potential weakness to the grappling. So obviously with Anthony Collins being a purple belt, that will be where he wants to get things, I'd imagine. But it's easier said than done, man. Cole's just kind of like a rambunctious wild man in there. So again, kind of the first guy that came out of that Lawrenceburg team, and I'm excited to see him get back in there. 201, also at 170, a win for him here, put him at 3-1, and right now that 170 title still up for grabs. That division's very fluid.
Yeah, like you said, OG of Lawrenceburg Combat Club. I think a big reason why Jankowski agreed to be on the card, I think, is just to be able to travel. They all love, I remember back when Cole last fought, they all just love being a part of a show that Cole's on.
Yeah.
They rally around that guy as well, and so it's going to be nice to have him back. And just like you said, 3-1 amateur record in a division that's kind of light right now with an open championship. If he wanted to stay active, this is a hell of a way to get yourself back in the conversation. Anthony Collins, absolutely zero knowledge about him, but what we do know is the history of Rowan Wrestling Club, and if he's coming in, he's coming in to win, that's for sure, and he's going to give it hell, trying to walk out of there with the victory. So I expect nothing less from Anthony Collins. The same as all his teammates when they come in.
Co-main event. Now we've not done this very often, Jeff, but these young ladies I think deserve this spotlight here. Our co-main event is a catch weight 120 pounds, a female K1 kickboxing bout. Is Reem Awad 1-0 out of Ben Kiker's United Karate Studios in Dalton, Georgia, takes on Crystal Massey, making her debut out of DJ Mackey's Crossville MMA, Crossville, Tennessee. Reem we saw back at the Fairgrounds event. She took on Anne Marie Sharp, and they had maybe like maybe like one of the best fights of the night from what I remember. That was like they really like just didn't stop throwing the whole time. And Reem very reminiscent of her teammate Hannah Tucker. There just kind of doesn't stop coming forward and throwing. And of course, we don't know much about Massey. This will be her first time competing. I do think she may have a little bit of a size advantage here. She's probably cutting 4 or 5 pounds to get there. And with Reem having fought previously at 115. But Massey is a police officer there in Crossville, has a pretty nice crowd support coming, it looks like. And we know these ladies are going to put on a great show. They deserve, to be higher up on the card.
Absolutely. And ticket sales and fan support will get you there on these showcase series. We had no choice. There was Crystal Massey, like you said, don't know much about her. What we do know, though, is for certain, and that is that she has a following. She has a big support system. So kudos to Crystal Massey for either marketing herself very well or being a hell of a nice person that people love you and want to come support you. Rima Wad, though, I don't know that I've met a more pleasant
Oh,
human being.
she's super nice. Yeah.
Wow, just everything we did in Nashville on the fair fight weekend at the Tennessee State Fair. She was early for, just super prepared, super professional, and everything she did was just so sweet to work with. And excited that we're finally able to have her back, because she was absolutely a pleasure to be around and work with. And the girl's got some skills. So it's definitely at 1-0. Nice to have her come back. It's been a while since the fair show, which would mean she has had plenty of time to keep sharpening her tools, getting her skill set even better than what we saw before. So it's going to be interesting to see the known factors of Reem Awad being a good fighter that we've seen perform and sitting with a 1-0 record, against the girl with the big crowd support, so don't know a lot about her. So, like you said, if you look back at like Hannah Tucker and these girls, what I can guarantee you is there will not be 3 seconds of this fight without a punch being thrown. There will never be a stall of more than 3 seconds without a strike being thrown in this fight, regardless of how long the fight lasts. That's a guarantee when it comes to these females.
Yeah, they like to get after it, man. Nobody's coming out of Kikers, not prepared. Mr. Kiker isn't going to send someone out there that isn't, ready to represent him in his gym. Let's just say that. So, really excited for that. Main event, man. This one's interesting. So we've got 155 pounds lightweight battle in the main event. It'll be Dustin Berry taking on Austin Sauls. Dustin Berry 2-0. Out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. Austin Sauls 1-1, formerly out of Maryville by way of Japan, even, but now living in China Grove, North Carolina, training with Rowan Wrestling. He actually made his debut against the captain Anson Phillips too. So like lots of degrees of separation with Anson Phillips to Brandon Dougherty to Austin Sauls and what have you. But Austin actually dropped his debut to Anson Phillips at 170. Moved out to train with that group, dropped down to 155, and then came back for his first fight after joining the new camp, and sets a then Aries record for fastest knockout. And it was broken very quickly the very next show. So he only held that title for about a month, but all the same, very impressive. With I want to say it was maybe 7 seconds, 6. It was very quick. But so. Obviously got power in his hands since dropping to 155. I think that was a huge move. At 170, he was way undersized. 155, he's in good shape. He is at a good place to hone his wrestling skills against a guy in Dustin Berry, who's going to want to wrestle. Dustin Berry, a wrestler out of Chattanooga, formerly with the Gogi. So his first 2 fights with the Gogi combatives, he got wins. And then he moved away. I want to say he moved to California for a bit. He moved back, and now he's independent. So I don't know exactly if there was some sort of falling out of the Gogi, or if it just he financials maybe didn't allow him to be able to train there. All the same, he is independent on this fight, so it's kind of interesting in that both wise for the wrestler and the striker, but also a guy that has gone from being independent to joining up with a gym and leveling up to a guy that had some good success with the gym, now independent. It's been a while since he's competed, but was very impressive when we did see him compete. Last time out was it? I want to say it was in Nashville, and
Mhm.
I believe he went all the rounds in his fight and he won from what I recall. So just interested to see how he's been over a year or more since we've seen him compete, and now that he's not with the gym, has he improved? Has he plateaued, or or what? Who knows, man? All I know is that at 2-0 and maybe moving to 3-0, he's certainly put himself in a nice spot. And all the same, for if Austin Sauls can pull off the win here, he'll steal that thunder and move to a 2-1 with some good scalps under his hat.
Yeah. Um, and like I said, I'm going to be interested enough to ask when we get to see Dustin, like what's going on,
Yeah,
and one possibility, completely speculative, is sometimes when guys move back in, maybe they want to take a fight quicker than what they know a gym
right.
would want them to.
Very
Like,
true.
hey, you've been gone a while, come back in. Let's see where you're at. Since we've seen you last, and let's wait. And some guys are just like, I don't want to wait. So maybe part of that too is also he knew if I joined back into the gym this quickly after moving back, that maybe I won't get to compete as quick as I want to. So could be a litany of possibilities. But the one thing that is, not in question is the guy has an undefeated record at 2-0. Um, so he's got the chops and he's got what it takes. It'll just be interesting to see where he's at after the long layoff, after moving across the country a couple of times. Uh, the thing about being independent is we don't know. Was he in a gym in California? Was he getting training? Has he done anything since he's been back, or who's he been working with to get ready for this fight? Um, so we'll just have to kind of see where he's at this point. I assume with Austin Sauls, though, we'll find out real quick where Dustin Berry's at, because Austin Sauls is going to be right there in his face, whether that be Berry initiating the grappling, and Saul's going to be right there, in his face to where he can grab him, or Austin Saul's coming off that big knockout win. If he's looking for another, he may see if it's possible to do 2 seconds. If you beat my 4, I'll name that tune in 2 notes.
Right.
Who knows what his mindset would be, but we know he's going to be there to fight Dustin Berry, and so we're going to find out quick, where Dustin Berry's at compared to where we saw him last. But again, it's a main event for a reason, because you do have two guys. Granted, one is just 1-1, but he has shown his potential, and he was so impressive in his last one, and we have seen the improvements after joining the Rowan crew, to where at 2-1, it it really does kind of skyrocket him and bump him up uh, in this weight class. And obviously 3-0 in the lightweight division right now would put Dustin Berry, should he continue this, or even after this fight go back to Agogi and join that team. That puts him in a real nice spot in the future, probably near future, honestly, should he want to compete. So, main event for a reason, man, and it's all right there in front of your face. Austin Saul's coming off, like you said, at what the time was a record knockout. Good fan support for Austin Sauls, and with a good team right now against an undefeated guy that we've seen before, and we know, like we said, has the chops to get it done. So this will be absolutely a deserved showcase for the Aries Amateur Showcase.
And looking at Dustin Berry's tapology here, so I may correct myself. I thought that it was California that maybe he moved to, but I could be wrong. And according to his tapology page now, it lists him as being from Memphis with law school MMA. So maybe he just moved across the
Oh,
state, and if that's the case,
that changes
if he's
everything I just
yeah,
said.
yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe it's
Yeah,
a situation where he was training still over a
yeah,
while. He hasn't fought since still. Now that's true. It's still been November of 2021 since he competed, and
right.
actually he got both of his wins in that same month. It was a quick turnaround, so that part stands true. But as far as getting training in, yeah, it is very possible he was training while he's away. All the same, now that he's back in Chattanooga, I don't know how far law school extends.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't change where he's at, and as far as where he's at right now and what his record is, but Absolutely, it does change the fact if he's been with Brian Law and that crew out there, at least getting in the gym and getting training, then that does set this in a different direction than what we had just spoken about, which was the possibility that he maybe hasn't been training,
Hmm.
because great gym out there, a lot of good fighters that you see competing, on Bellator, LFAs right now. So definitely one of the you know top 3 to 4 premier gyms in the state of Tennessee. Absolutely.
And that'll do it, folks. That is your 12 bout card for this Friday. Of course, we'll do the weigh-ins free to the public at Cotton Eye Joe Thursday. If you want to come out and see these guys face off, 6 p.m. Otherwise, Friday night the doors open at 5 o'clock. We'll get started at 6 o'clock. Check it out at Expectation Sports, or get your tickets at fightertix.com. And Jeff, I think there's still a handful of floor seats left, and if you want to get those and guarantee yourself a good spot up close, of course. The Joe, one of our more loose, laid back, fun atmosphere. So, a lot of people are good with just standing around and mingling along the place. And no matter what, we promise you'll have a good time. Jeff, any parting words before we get out of here?
Not just see everybody this Friday, but absolutely, like you said, this is a very laid back atmosphere. Um, Lance does our announcing, everybody else is working. We get to kind of enjoy it. So come find Tim and I cage side. We'll have a drink with you. Our sponsors always have a good time at the Joe. They'll definitely have a drink. Chris Burleson and the crew will have a drink with you for sure if you find them in the VIP area. So, come out and have a good time.
All right. For Jeff Hobbs, I'm Tim Loy, and that'll do it for this edition of the Zero Hour. We'll see you guys back next week. We'll do a recap show, let you know what happened at this one, and get the ball rolling towards the next one. Some big things coming up. We appreciate you guys hanging with us. Like, subscribe. We'll see you next time. Thanks.
See ya.